Hello there, Crafty Doer. Jessica Michaels here from the Crafty Doings, mixed media paper crafts, here for the Crafty Maven getaway, creating a layout using the Heartwarming and Hearth collection. So grab a comfy chair, grab all your crafty things, and let's get into the Crafty Doings. I am not going to go product by product, but I do want to give you a sneak peek of this dump of mixed media. Like, I am not sure people understand, if you are not already a kit club member, but these mixed media kits are jam-packed with mediums, anything you can think of. There's things in here that I've never even heard of or played with, and I love how creative the paper gets. Like the insert for the Vicky Boutin chipboard titles, she threw that in because the back has a beautiful blue pattern, and I love that because as a mixed media junk journal scrapbook artist, like, I can use all of this paper, and it is just very it's very inspiring. And so you get a pack of pretty paper and then a stack of pretty paper. There are stencils in here. There is paper dye ink, I should say. There's flakes, foil flakes, and thick glitter paste. There are wood veneers and brads. This inky thing that I may or may not use for this project, that's green powder, Posca marker. These are tags from 49 in Market. There's some washi and distress acrylic paint, and also some stamps, or not stamps, but ink pads and ribbon, like twine, and ephemera from Simple Stories. And then this is the thick glitter that I had mentioned. And then there's these I guess kind of like, it reminds me of cello tape, the leaves up on my glassworking surface. So what I'm going to do now is just pull out some items that really speak to me. And then I'm going to go through the ephemera because I want to really go heavy on the embellishment for this layout. And I won't necessarily use all of this, but I am going to get this sheet of paper from my Vicky Boutin stash. It was from her mixed media collection, and I'm going to trim it down to 8x8. If you don't already know, I scrapbook 8x8. I love mentioning this in my videos because a lot of the ephemera and titles and such may seem larger in scale because I scrapbook 8x8. So I grabbed this pattern paper for the black and white, and it's pretty neutral in color, and so I want to work with the reds and the pinks. Now I am going to use this sketch from the Cherry blog over at A Cherry on Top. And if you notice, we are working in groups of 4s. And I have these tags here from the kit, and I'm thinking that I want to use the tags versus, or I should say, instead of the photographs, because I only have one photograph in mind for this layout. So I'm going to fuss with the tags and see how that feels. Okay, I'm going to let the tags kind of sit there, and then I'll go back to it to see if I want to change anything or start from scratch. I'm going to play with this pigment powder by Nuvo. Whoa, I was not expecting that squirt there, but it's literally just powder. It is not liquid at all, so I'm going to have to add some water. This, by the way, is kind of how I play for the most part with the new products. I get a scrap piece of paper, and normally, well, I mean, this is a paper that I will use for future projects, like in my junk journals or mixed media art journals. And I'm going to spray some water, and the color is magnificent. It is so dreamy and shimmery and gorgeous, and it is just one color, so there's not like a mix of pigments in here or anything. And so I'm just kind of playing with it to see how it moves, how it looks when it dries, how it looks when it has a lot of water on it versus just maybe a tiny bit. I want to see how it reacts when I play with it, and to get a better idea of where I want to go with this layout. And now that I've played with that, I think I'm going to scratch the tags. And I really want to use this paper dye ink here. From the package, because this is, again, another product I've never played with, it says that it's for dyeing paper. And so I was going to go right on top of it. And then I thought, I don't want to saturate my paper. Like, I don't want to dye my paper. I want to use this more as a medium. So I'm going to go in with the Simon Hurley white paste and a spatula and just kind of make some scrape marks here with my palette, kind of do a little palette painting. And I do want to keep that idea of that concept of fours to try to stay true to the sketch as much as I can. Palette painting is actually one of my favorite things to do. And I've never played with Simon Hurley's paint here. And actually it's labeled as just white paste. But anyways, I've never played with it. And so it goes on smoothly. It is in between a medium and a thick and a medium kind of texture. So I really like that. I know that Adina Wakely's gesso is really watery, and so I love that one. So this is kind of like a nice medium before you get to like super duper heavy gesso. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like dry, and it actually dries a little bit glossy, which is different for me. I'm used to my paste drying pretty matte or opaque. So now it's time to play with these dyes. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit on here, and actually nothing is coming out. So that's scary, and I don't want to squeeze too much. So you're on this ride with me, and what I'm going to do is test another one. I'm going to grab my napkin just in case I end up squeezing too hard and it just goes everywhere. I'm going to grab like a pin and see if that works. Maybe I have to like break through a seal or something, and hopefully it doesn't go everywhere. Yeah, sure enough, it's all over my thumbs and my thumb and my fingers, and the good thing is it didn't get everywhere, so I was able to contain it using the napkin. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing with the other two colors, since that seemed to have worked. Now, whether this is standard for this product, I don't know. It is new to me. It worked for me. I'm sure if you wanted maybe or if I wanted to use like a smaller, thinner needle for, a tinier hole so it doesn't squeeze out a lot of it, I could have done that, but I'm happy with this. I'm usually pretty fluid with my ink. So I'm going to put this down, and wow, I absolutely love what's happening here. This is really exciting. It reminds me of Tim Holtz's neon alcohol ink. It's so pretty. So I'm going to keep doing this. In fact, I am going to add this third color here at the end, because I'm not going to use the tags. That's a scratch. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the green pigment powder on this third paint strip here, this paste strip, and see how that works out. I think it'll be like a really pretty contrast color, excuse me. And I mean, that is what the kit is. It has reds, it has pinks. Hannah threw in a few oranges, as you can see, and then that beautiful accent contrast color of green. So I'm going to go ahead and hone in and lean in to that and make this green. And then I'm going to dry it with my heat drying tool so that I can move on to the next step. The kit came with this beautiful like blush vellum paper, and I really wasn't trying to play with the paper and textures in that way, but I can't help it. These kits are just, they've had so many beautiful textures and dimensions and different types of papers. Like I can't help it. And so because it is vellum and a little bit see-through, I'm going to place them on top. Maybe look at the other pieces of papers and start layering it up. But I think, you know what? No, it's covering up the beautiful ink. So then I get the idea to lay them in between. And I think that is just so lovely. And also it just really encourages me to begin to layer the papers. So I'm going to start with the vellum, and then I am definitely going to add some machine sewing because that's just my thing, and I love to add some stitching onto there. I'm pulling out these wood veneers just to kind of, number one, not forget that I want to use them, but also just help bring inspiration from the other pieces in the kit because it all just goes oh so well together. I was going to use some titles from the Simple Stories ephemera, but it's way too big. And remember, I scrapbook 8x8, so I try to avoid big titles like that unless that is a part of the focal point. So I'm just going to use one of the Vicky Boutin chipboard titles. The word this, and this will be fun to use. I will show you here after I run my layout through the sewing machine. So let me get that done so we can move on to all the other parts of this layout. Okay, so here is the stitching again, just trying to keep it in the concept of fours to stay true to the sketch. And I usually print out my photos and just kind of tape my baby's faces over it while I record the tutorial. But for whatever reason, my printer was being funky. And so I just grabbed this piece of paper that says place a photo here for now. Here I am painting the Vicky Boutin chipboard title. And these are so fun because you don't have to worry about getting paint on the entire thing. I'll just completely drench the entire thing and then wipe off, sorry, I'm off camera, wipe off the excess. If I want it darker, I do have to go over it again. However, it is important that I don't completely saturate it more than 2 times because it is a chipboard and it will begin to peel. So you'll notice that this time around, I actually am focusing on a little bit more, trying to stay within the THIS and then wiping it off. Again, I could do another 3rd layer, but I didn't want to risk the chipboard peeling. So I've added a few embellishments and I know that I want my title to go here. I am scrapbooking, by the way. My 2 girls, they were brushing their teeth one night before bed, but my youngest had my heels on and then my eldest had my crazy fur boots, and it was adorable and it was cute. And so I took a snapshot, and this this color combination in this kit, mixed media kit, I think was just perfect to capture that moment and document that moment. So I thought about accenting with a black because there is some black in the photo, but also making it pop out from the background and then some of the ephemera pieces that I'm going to use. And all I kept thinking of, because this ephemera packet has these circles with the numbers on it, was just kind of like a countdown, 3, 2, 1, boom. And so I'm going to go ahead and use that, which now that I think about it, I probably should have done the 4. Because the concept of 4, to stay true to the sketch, but that's what sketches are for. They're for inspiration. You don't necessarily need to copy the exact same thing. At least that's how I run it in my world. But I don't know, you do you, right? So I stuck with the 3, 2, 1, and then I found this really cool little ephemera that said little moments. So it was like a countdown to the little moments thing. There are some cool random ephemera, like this camera that I wanted to use, but it's way too big, and that's just not the focal point of this particular design. So I'm gonna need to hear everything else, including this, like, I don't know, it's almost like a sketched out desk lamp, and I thought it was cool just because it brings out attention to the little moments ephemera, as well as like the black and white in the background. I definitely want to use the wood veneers, so I'm gonna add those around as embellishments as well. I think from this point moving forward, I'm just kind of playing out. I've kind of threw away the concept of 4s, but I think the idea is there. And so I'm going to finish embellishing with the wood veneers, and then I'm going to go in with washi tape because I do have it out on my desk and I do want to use it, and it actually adds to the layering of the mediums and the vellum and the stitching. So I'm going to add those where I can and see how that works out. I think it worked out quite nicely. I definitely want to continue to add some layers and just bulk behind the photo. So I'm going to reach for these kind of like cello stickers and start trimming up the branch, because it's obviously way too big to add it now since I've adhered most of the pieces. And when I adhere, and it's my tip to you as a scrapbooker or card maker is, especially scrapbookers, is when I adhere, I just kind of do a tiny little X in the center, or even just a tiny little dot, to allow room for tucking, just like I'm tucking in these leaves right now. If I would have adhered it completely, then I would have to conduct paper surgery, and just like I am right now. And it's not often that it ruins the layout completely, like the paper completely, but it is kind of like a pain. And also you just have to be super duper careful and hope for the best that it doesn't make a big old tear. I know this is where like tape runners come in handy. I've tried that when I first started scrapbooking 3 years ago, and those projects like are falling apart, and so I told myself I would never. So anyways, back to the leaves. I'm going to tuck in where I can. I really want to focus on the top, the bottom, and then the center, just kind of a few peekaboos in the center. And then I want to really use those brads, those little tiny gold heart brads that come in the kit. Here are the brads that I was speaking of. I believe these are from Jen Hadfield. I like the little gold ones. It's really cute because it has like the darker pink and the lighter pink, which I really wanted to go crazy with, but I think I'm just going to use a couple or a few of these gold ones just as a tiny little cherry, on top type of deal. I love brads. I used to use them a lot when I first started, and it's definitely easier if you puncture a hole before you just stick the brad into it. But I'm an impatient person and I am able to accomplish it, so I'm going to do it this way anyways. But I think it is the perfect little accent. I'm going to put them in between the 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to add it at the top here of my layout. And here is the final look to my project. I truly do hope that you were inspired today to reach for your mixed media products and create on your paper crafts. This is my last project for the Crafty Maven Getaway as a design team member, which I have been so blessed and honored to be a part of. For more tips, tricks, and mixed media inspiration, follow me at the Crafty Doings Mixed Media Paper Crafts. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next Crafty Doings.